I miss when WoW was just a game. Oh, brother, don't we all? I mean, I love playing classic WoW because it's just the best version of World of Warcraft out there, in my opinion. But my god, it is so frustrating that Blizzard can't get the hint and just make true Classic Plus experience so we can all enjoy the game again. And you just have this cycle of endless versions of Classic just being re released every single year, and it's just so annoying, bro. Like, I really just wish Blizzard would take notes and, for the love of God, just implement a good version of Classic Plus, but it will never happen, so there's no point in deluding myself. But this video is 1 year old at this point, but I am very sure that it is still relevant, so let's check it out. I really love the
I
title.
miss when World of Warcraft was just a game to me. In fact, I missed when most games were just games. I was reminded of this last night while playing Quest 64, an old Nintendo 64 game. There's barely any direction, there's no objectives, and there's a ton of rooms and corridors and hallways that just lead nowhere. It annoyed me at first. I would say stuff like, why would the developers put that there if it has no purpose? Or I'd say something like, that's bad game design. But then I did some reflection. There was a day before good game design, when games weren't designed to keep you engaged, or keep your dopamine levels high, or give you constant breadcrumb rewards. There was a day when they were just games, to play without purpose just for fun. Almost like playing pretend when you were a kid. So why did the developers put that empty hallway there? Well,
because they were actual functional human beings with a frontal lobe and they weren't the lobotomites. So they would actually think, hey, that would be a really cool place to put something there. And there might be something inside, and maybe not. But you need to explore and discover for yourself. And that was the fun part. The exploration doesn't mean you always get a reward at the end. It just means that you explored a zone that you weren't familiar with before. And developers realized that you can put a big, shiny object or achievement or whatever at the end of everything, because then it doesn't give you any satisfaction. You need to work hard to find something, and that was the beauty of Classic, because most of the locations were kind of empty, but the locations you found that did have that something special always felt so unique. And I can give a really good example for that too. You remember the Wailing Caverns? Now, at the entrance to the Wailing Caverns, which, you know, is the cavern itself, right? On top of that, there is like a skull-shaped entrance. And if you come from the backside of the mountain and you jump right at the top of the skull, you can go inside the eye of the skull and find NPCs that actually give you quests for the Wailing Caverns dungeon. And that was crazy. Now, obviously, today everyone knows the spot and everyone just goes there because, you know, this game is 20 years old by this point. But imagine back in the day, the feeling that someone had just exploring, jumping around, trying all kind of shenaniganry. And one random dude thought to himself, you know what? I'm gonna climb that skull because it looks fun. He tried it. It worked. Lo and behold, he found 2 NPCs. Or 3. I don't remember how many are there. I think they're 3. And yeah, more than that, they gave him important quests. So it was crazy, right? And you have so many examples of it too. You have like the priest quest for the special weapon from Molten Core. Anathema was the name. Sorry, I kind of forgot. It's been a while. But, I mean, you have the same thing for the Hunter with the Leaf. All of these special quests that you just had to explore, man. The era before information became so wildly known and everything is data mined was the golden era, for sure. It was the golden age. I mean, it was so good when information was scarce and you actually had to read stuff like the crumpled notes for the Onyxia quest and all of that stuff, and you had to discover the lore for yourself. It was so damn fun. That's why I try to always disconnect myself from the internet whenever I try to explore a new game, and I love discover everything about, myself. It's way more fun this way. I just got so tired of data mining and everyone just yelling at me what to do. It's so annoying. It completely ruined the immersion for me, and I'm slowly trying to disconnect myself from that. But being a content creator, it's literally impossible because you live this world. So, you know, you're trying to strike that balance of not finding anything and kind of find useful information, but it's really impossible. It is really difficult.
Because someone may just want to explore around for fun. How about that? Playing a game for the fun of it.
No.
I used to feel the same way
No.
about World of
You play for
Warcraft.
the daily
Nowadays, I
login
care
rewards.
about item levels, I care about rating, I care about new content and the best talent builds and the top classes and the top
God.
specs and the next patch and the buffs and the nerfs. And even
No.
Blizzard seems to have adapted.
Bro, it's so crazy. What he's saying is 100% facts. I mean, literally everyone is frothing at the mouth whenever a new patch comes out. Not because the patch is exciting or anything, but because they get to read the patch notes. Everyone goes like, oh my god, oh, this thing got data mined. Oh, we got new information. It's so annoying. I hate these channels, bro. It is truly the epitome of cringe. Nothing is exciting anymore. I honestly wish they would, like, there would be more protection against data miners. I know Blizzard is literally incapable of doing so because they're lazy and just stupid, but I really wish more developers would start doing that. I think data mining ruined everything. And again, you can try to avoid that, but if you're watching YouTube, you will eventually encounter or get spoiled by one video or another. And you wouldn't expect that. Because right now, everyone assumes that you're min-maxing. And that is just unfortunate. And to be fair, most people do. I think most people that stayed on World of Warcraft currently are min-maxers. Like, either they're hyper casuals or super min-maxers.
To this style
There's
of thinking,
no in-between.
making every new zone and raid high octane and high priority in the storyline. There's no time anymore to just relax and play, but it wasn't always like this. When I first started playing World of Warcraft in 2006, I was a dwarf warrior and I had no clue what I was doing, but I did know one thing. I loved being engrossed in the world. I would go into every building in Ironforge just to look around and think how cool it might be to just hang out here with friends and talk. Not questing, not leveling, not gearing, just hanging out in a cool secluded place in Ironforge talking about life. Same thing for this random building in Orgrimmar. I barely made it to level 20 on that first character, but I probably explored most of the entire world map, and I can still remember the awe I felt when I accidentally stumbled into the burning steppes by walking through the broken gate in the north of Redridge Mountains, and suddenly I arrived in Fire and Brimstone.
Imagine being able to get lost in an MMORPG again. Nowadays, everything is so straightforward. Like, literally, go here, and then go here, and then go there. I hate that, man. I used to love the fact that we could get lost in the world that we're currently immersed in. That was so damn good. Because you had, let's say, a leveling zone, and then you just went slightly to the right because you thought it was the right path for you to go, and then you just get butchered. It is so cool for me to think that they actually made like leveling zone next to like high endgame stuff, and you can take Tearsful Glade as an example. And they put it like next to the most high level stuff in the game, and you could easily misjudge where you walk and just completely get butchered. That was part of the fun. I mean, all of the things and the learning process were just so good. And again, back in the day when information was scarce, you actually had to ask people where to go, and it boosted communication and player interaction. So all of these stuff kind of happened naturally. You didn't have to force anything. You didn't need to make certain events or try to group people up like you need to kind of do today, because information is so wide and far out there. But stuff just happened naturally, man. And this is something that I think we'd lost forever. Well, that we lost forever, because most people will never try to ask someone. They will just search online, and there's nothing you can do about it. They will always Google up the answer before trying to ask someone inside the game. And this is not really something any developer can change. It's just human behavior. And this is something we lost to the ages, unfortunately.
Seeing the blackened, smoky sky and the lava pouring from the mountains was amazing, and seeing the creatures and dragons that roamed the land made me excited to eventually come back and quest here, which I never did. Oops. But I do still remember that feeling.
You actually did yourself a favor.
Awe at every zone
I
and
hate
every
this zone.
turn. And now I'm so familiar with every zone that I gotta admit I'm pretty killer at WoW GeoGuessr. So that begs the question, is this just a nostalgia thing? And I don't think so, as Classic WoW and Season of...
The nostalgia argument died the moment Classic WoW released. I remember all the Classic haters telling us, hey bro, it is just your imagination. It's not as good as people say it was. It's purely nostalgia. And then the game released, and guess what happened? All of the people that were hating on Classic started playing it. And suddenly, you never heard about them before. Well, after that, sorry. You never heard from them again. They vanished. Because they realized once the game came out and literally millions played it, everything they said was false. It wasn't nostalgia. The game was just that good.
Discovery in particular still have their moments of invoking wonder in me more so than modern WoW. And I think what it comes down to is the idea of a game being just that, a game. The process of not needing to follow an ideology of good game design, or retention practices, or meaningful progression systems, or balance. In the many empty buildings in each capital city, I feel the echoes of players and guilds that came before and probably hung out within their walls chatting in-game rather than using something like Discord to do voice chat. And even beyond the capital cities, there are empty vistas in areas of the game that some may consider useless or poorly designed that were really just there to add flavor for those who wanted it. And even endgame raids in classic WoW like Molten Core didn't feel as immediately pressing to complete as soon as you could. I mean, there wasn't always a
no, you need that gear. You need that gear to defeat the boss that can literally be annihilated by 60 naked paladins. Like, who cares, bro? Like, dude, who cares? It's so crazy. The min-max are like, oh, it's not 60, it's 40 man raid. Oh, it doesn't matter, bro. Like, you need to chill and stop trying to rush Molten Core. I hate these people, man. I truly am.
World-ending catastrophe just on the other side if you didn't hurry up and progress through.
And it's crazy. Oh my god, I'm pausing so much, but I have so much to say about this. Trust me, guys. It's so crazy. My first guild when I played Classic was so trash. I'm not gonna name it because I don't want to create any beef, but my god, it was super toxic, just like the thing the guy in the video talks about. And everyone were super hard min-maxing, even though it was meant for like semi-casual. You were expected to bring flasks to every single raid, and you expected to know everything, which is, I mean, I guess this one is kind of makes sense. Like, nobody was willing to teach you. Everyone just posted, like the guildmaster just posted videos like, hey, you gotta watch this, you gotta learn everything, and it just felt so industrialized. Like they were trying to make soldiers just complete bots that would complete every single raid like an ape, instead of actually learning by yourself. And it's not like there's much to learn, bro. It's Molten Core. Ragnaros do like few things, and that's it. And you don't even need to know anything about him to just completely butcher him. So it's kind of funny that instead of just teaching you the regular way, they're like, hey, here's a video of the most popular channel that covers how to kill everything. Just watch it, learn everything, and just get inside the game. And I kind of get it. You know, I really do, because you want to save some time. But I mean, I love wasting time. I do. I love wasting time inside of a video game, and I just love learning on my own and through community interaction. But maybe it's just me, man. Maybe I'm just old. I'm getting close to my 30s, you know? I'm at that point. But I guess it is what it is. Maybe just nature of the beast.
The raid. In modern WoW, there.
But I just hate that toxicity, like player toxicity from retail, has seeped into Classic. That's basically what the point that I was trying to make there. And it's unfortunate. You can see it because we... okay, no, time for a little funny story, okay? We had a guy in our guild that needed on every single Paladin tier set. Now, if you know anything about Classic, Paladin tier set sucks, okay? You never use them. So, whenever he needed on those pieces, I think it was like on a breastplate, the guildmaster, who was super toxic, by the way, have literally called him out. He has literally called him out in front of everyone in the Discord, just humiliating him and telling him like, why in God's name are you needing on all of these items? And he told him, I just love the way that they look. And the guildmaster immediately went so hard on him. And I cannot use the words that he said, but basically the guy that needed on all of these items just ended up leaving the guild immediately after. And I remember talking to him and telling him like, bro, leave the guild immediately. Like that is completely fine. You made a smart decision. And I left, I think, like a month after that. And then I found the best guild in the world, by the way. But, you know, the first guild was absolutely horrendous. So kind of a funny story. I know my trash English kind of butchered it, but hopefully the message came across.
There's a greater emphasis on the critical path and on
It was not as funny when it happened, though. It was super cringe to watch, bro. You watch some random sweaty kid like squiggly sing-song voice guildmaster just goes hard on some player who just tried to have fun. It is so disgusting. It was honestly horrifying. I still talk about this with my friend to this day because we were at the same guild together. That's crazy. Like, it was really that horrifying to watch at the time.
And in a sense, I get it. You have to keep the players engaged, you have to keep the stakeholders happy, and you need to constantly have high stakes. Unfortunately, Blizzard already crossed the border of highest stakes of all time with the Shadowlands expansion and the universe-ending Jailer. I mean, how can you create another...
You have universe-ending something at every single expansion, bro. It really just lost the impact. Nobody's afraid anymore. You're the hero of Azeroth at every single expansion. Illidan's gonna come to save you, and, Tyrande, Malfurion, and all the heroes, Thrall and Jaina are the classic ones, right? Dude, we lost the plot. It's over. We don't care about the story anymore because it has been butchered. There's nothing interesting, impressive, or any risky thing going on. So we don't care. Bro, you can kill the entire roster and we wouldn't blink. So it doesn't even matter. Nobody cares about the current villain anymore. She's cringe, everything is bad, and nothing makes sense. Okay? They retcon everything every 2 minutes. They literally retconned the Jailer just a month ago because nothing makes sense. They don't think further ahead. It's not they don't think 2 steps ahead. They think 2 steps backwards. I don't even know how it makes sense, but somehow they managed to pull this off.
Their engaging story without putting the universe at stake again. But that's just the point for me. I don't want another universe-ending, world-ending, or even continent-ending storyline. I want a lived-in world with smaller, more meaningful, bite-sized stories that are fun to explore. I don't want a fresh new continent where it feels like nobody's ever been there before. I want to feel as if I'm part of the world again, not the champion of Azeroth. I want to walk around and explore the corners of each zone and building, not for a reward or a secret, but for the fun of it. But the gaming landscape has changed. We don't need to talk using in-game chat anymore. Discord has a great interface, a bunch of communities, and it's easier than ever to voice chat with your friends. Back in the day, having a TeamSpeak or Vent server was a big deal, and having good enough internet to run that at the same time as playing World of Warcraft was an even bigger deal. Stereotypically nowadays, gamers are painted as these nitro-fueled, energy drink-chugging, RGB lighting, enthralled adult children. And to pander to that stereotype, we need flashy games that pack a punch and better pack one quick before your captive audience chooses one of a million other games promising the same thing. But there's another catch. They're all promising the same thing. How awesome would it be to finally have a World of Warcraft expansion or experience with a slower pace, a chiller vibe, and some good old fun exploration?
To be fair, this part was kind of the bad end of Classic. I gotta admit. Listen, don't get me wrong. Story is amazing. The way you tell it is more important. Because you need to tell a story in a coherent way, but you need to make sure it's not boring. Now, Classic has the thing where, again, he shows a really good example. You have 20 goddamn pages of something, and this is just way too much. You want to have the bite-sized story come in pieces at certain intervals. You don't want everything all at once. You don't want to read a scroll of text all the time. And that's what makes most people just skip the lore. Now, personally for me, I love this type of things, but I'm fully aware that most people don't. I'm fully aware of that. I'm the special case of this, right? I'm in the minority. But I think that if you play a story like Final Fantasy XIV had done, where it's Twitter long, this is the best option. Like, this is the most common ground everyone would agree. It's probably the best storytelling ever. Because I've played throughout the entire Final Fantasy XIV story, and it is incredible. And it was amazing. The way that they showcased everything was truly mesmerizing, and it was enjoyable for, I think, the majority of players. So don't have scrolls of text, don't have like really long journal entries unless it's 1 in a million quest line that is super important. Then I'm down for that, and I think that it is good and healthy for the game. But for the most part, just have a really good, concise story. That's it.
And no, I'm not talking about the cozy game genre, which, side note, it's probably growing fast because more people are wanting that type of vibe, but I don't want WoW to be a farming sim or an...
It's not that they want this type of vibe, they just kind of got used to it. And we are being currently doggy trained by these big companies to like all of this trash. We need to say no to that. We need to stop playing these type of games because your brain is changing, depends on what you do. And if we get constantly addicted to dopamine rushes at short intervals, I mean, we're just going to consume more and more of that until we'll just, I don't know, purchase Labubus all the time. So we don't want to get there. We need to stop. We need to take a step back and chill and say no to these type of games. That's the solution.
Idle game. I would want the upcoming WoW expansions to feel like classic WoW and...
Unfortunately, the younger generation is being force-fed this stuff because they truly think that's all that exists. And I do kind of understand the sentiment of that.
Season of Discovery in their pacing.
For sure.
Slowed down, less high stakes, less flashy lights, less progression systems, with more corners to explore.
Oh man, I'm pausing a lot, I'm sorry. I mean, I'd argue that classic WoW had way higher stakes. You don't really die in retail. Unless you're, like, extremely dumb, you die in retail. But no, if you're an actual functional human being, you will not die in retail. Not even once, okay? The game is way too easy. Classic, you really had to watch your step. That's why Classic Hardcore Challenge is so popular. People are loving it. And if you played like Turtle WoW, you'd see that for yourself. It's crazy how many people are enjoying it because the stakes were extremely high. You really need to be careful to not even pull 2 monsters at once. Because for the most part, it means death. Unless you're playing like a mage or rogue, for the most part, it will mean your demise. So you do need to be careful. But at the end game, it's kind of different. But at the end game, I guess it's not really stakes because you just, do the raid and continue all over again. It doesn't really matter.
Whether they're empty or not. I don't have a proposed solution, and I'm not saying by any means I hate World of Warcraft now.
The solution is to nuke current Blizzard and tell them to actually start working on the real thing that everyone wants, which is a Classic Plus.
Now, or that I'm quitting retail.
Nobody
no,
wants that retail garbage.
I just wanted to throw my hat and my feelings into the ring, and I'm sure some of you out there would feel the same. I still like to just sit on the cliffs of Thunderbluff and look out on Mulgore. I still like to hear the music of Elwyn Forest and Stormwind as I'm strolling through. And sometimes, even as a heroic raider in Dragonflight, I still like to RP walk. Oh. And I hope that I'm not alone in saying I miss when games were games and we would play just for fun. Thanks for watching and take care.
Such a good video. I'm going to leave a link in the description so you guys can give it a like and watch it for yourself. And of course, up to him if you haven't already. Great video. Absolutely fantastic. Somehow, I made a 6-minute video into 22 minutes. Wow, that is absolutely amusing. I can't believe I actually managed to do that. Hopefully I didn't rant too much, but I had so much to say. It was such a great topic too. I loved everything he talked about. He's so true and right about everything. I mean, it's just so unfortunate we lost all of these quiet moments that we can discover, right? And even now, playing Classic WoW, like just play Classic. Classic is a solved game. I enjoy it. I really do. It is fantastic, right? I even voice crack, so you know it's true. But the game is solved. I want a new experience. I don't want the same game recycled every single year over and over and over again. I really want a fresh experience, and I would really appreciate if Blizzard would actually give us a great Classic Plus experience. And I know the current Blizzard developers are probably incapable of doing so, but maybe, if they learn something from Turtle WoW, please, for the love of God, do just that, but slightly better, okay? And we'll be good.